It is no longer news, but then it's quite unfortunate that human activist Dele Farotimi was kidnapped because that could not be considered as an arrest following the circumstances surrounding his, will I say, rendition at this time, even within the Nigerian state. Contraction to the extent that he was invited twice in Lagos, he resides in Lagos, and nothing could have necessitated the Nigerian police or whosoever involved laying ambush against Dele Farutimi in such a manner which they did could be considered to be act of kidnapping, usurping his fundamental right of expression and, of course, of movement. If there is need to call his attention, of course, you follow the due process. There are process of engagement which the police force has invited him for twice, according to information available to the media. Then why ambushing him? Could that be any ulterior motive behind this? Some have said that this could be an assassination attempt or failed assassination attempt and on the life of Dele Farotimi, who has been a social critic, a spoken personality, addressing myriads of problems bedeviling Nigeria, bordering on endemic corruption, state capture, and economic redundant. In fact, economic collapse as far as Nigeria today is concerned. Nigerians are apprehensive. Nigerians are wallowing in such wilderness of uncertainty that they don't know how to navigate this unfortunate dilemma or national calamity that have befallen the Nigerian state. And come to think about that, what could Dele Farotimi, a human rights activist, have said that is strange from what others have said in the same way or in the same like manner, just as the famous musician, popularly known as Davido Adeleke, also expressed his own frustration and dissatisfaction over the plight or the state of the Nigerian economy today, and not just the economy, virtually all facets of Nigerians' existence comes to bear security, economy. I mean, living standard of the people are abysmal, sinking and declining, getting worse by the day. It is not just that this is worse, we are getting out of the wood anytime soon. There is no clear road, there is not even roadmap, let alone the one that could be clear. There is quite unfortunate that the government of the day continue to sink the economic, the Nigerian state, borrowing upon borrowing just for the current expenditures, just to eat, to pay salaries, and whatever happens to the rest, only God knows. Even when they have told Nigerians that they are saving the subsidy, the reason why they removed the subsidy was to save money. But unfortunately, rather than coming to tell Nigerians that they have failed and disappointed Nigerians, the next step is to hike the value added tax, which will also incur more pain and disaster upon Nigerians whose life spending has been overstretched within the little or no resources at all to spend. We talk about the level of unemployment, poverty, index rate. Nigeria considered to be the center of poverty. That was when Buhari was in the seat of power. Then life was relatively perceived to be not too extremely difficult as is being perceived now. But then that was an Eldorado. We never thought, of course, things would get worse. For them who never thought, we anticipated this, and it was nothing different. For me, of course, and many others who understood that Nigeria would dive deeply into abysmal decline, economic wise and security wise. But that is not what we are here to discuss. What could have informed Davido Adeleke to make such assertions? Of course, in within the international communities about his country, some people have condemned or criticized him. He was very magnanimous enough to have used the word that the Nigerian economy was in shambles. I think that could be a better word to describe this states of dilemma where Nigerians has found themselves in the wheel of motionless, stuck in the wheel of motionless and despair. You begin to ask, things are not working. What would be responsible for this? And we are just merely existing. Now, Farah to me has been an outspoken personality and human rights activist canvassing for an egalitarian society where everybody will feel the sense of belonging when where fundamental rights of the people will be respected, entrenched by the state institution of the states the security operatives as well. But then, unfortunately, what we are seeing is the gross violation of injustice, perversion, even by the said institution of the state, in backing of such reckless and inhuman treatment method on the people. The rights to expression, the rights to freedom of speech, the rights to liberty, and freedom of association and religious affiliations has been usurped, have been lost in Nigeria, while it is the highest responsibility of the government to protect these rights of the people. But unfortunately, Farah Farotimi Dele is now a victim of the same circumstances, which he has been speaking up in order to address, but then rather than to gain the attention of those concerned, to retract their part and get this working the way it should, the way normal society, human society should be run. But unfortunately, it's been misunderstood by some persons or heavyweights within or connected to the corridor of power who think they can not choose uh, be insulted as they meant that to be, but then without criticism, there is no government, and government can't review her policies and, of course, strategies to align with the demand, yearning demands of the people, but rather in Nigeria is being considered as antagonism, where instead of the government in power to seek opinions and of the masses how they felt or the impact of the policy of the government on the people psychologically, emotionally, even environmentally, of course, in order to strike a healthy balance. But then nobody cares. It doesn't matter. What they needed to do is to roll out the policies, whether it is anti-people or not. Let everybody be silenced or be clamped down. The media should be shut up. And of course, nobody should comment or deliberate on such issues, even when it's of public interest and the interest of justice to address those things and call the attention of those concerned to bear so that they will know that this unnecessary burden on the masses is becoming unbearable on the masses and it's telling on the life expectancy and of course the well-being of all Nigerians or everyone residents within this enclave. But then you begin to ask, why are the multinationals leaving? Why are companies winding up folding? Why are things out of outrageous, of course, out of the reach of an average Nigerian? Why is it that an average Nigerian citizens or family could no longer afford basic necessities, just food, let alone talking of shelter and clothing? It's quite unfortunate, and these are the basic elementary responsibility of the any responsible government to ensure that her citizens is well catered for or well taken care of. But unfortunately, what you are seeing is mere propaganda, cheap propaganda sponsored just to uh, deceive the gullible ones. But it's unfortunate that this is no longer working because the people are in terms with the reality happenings. You can no longer deceive the people all the time. You might have succeeded deceiving them, some of the times, but not all the people all the time. People are now becoming politically aware, our consciousness has been awakened, and they have understood what are the responsibilities and obligations of the governments and, of course, the citizens to the nation or the citizens, the government to the citizens. But then we are not seeing that, and we begin to ask them if the very utmost primary responsibility of the government, which is to protect life and property, and the right to expression, the right to freedom, the right to political and religious affiliations, has been has failed or has not been kept by the same government, then the government does not exist or could be considered as a failed government. Now, as information reaching us, of course, revealed that Dele Farotimi was whisked away by unknown gunmen. Of course, it was later revealed that the police in Ekiti, or Commissioner of Police in Ekiti State, made a public briefing that Dele Farotimi is under their watch. Nobody could ascertain the state of well-being as of this time of reporting. But then it's quite unfortunate he was whisked away en route uh, Lagos to Ekiti State. You know how many the distance you have to travel, the subjugations, the horrible experience he may have been subjected to, and the risk, the danger of exposing him to such a length of travel, even in this time when insecurity has become a pan, a pan, pandemic in Nigeria today. It's quite unfortunate that nobody could speak out again. That what is the essence of democracy? When people's opinions and suggestions could drive government policies and implementations and review of such impact on the masses physically, sociologically, emotionally, and economically, and of course, environmentally, those assessments, index assessments, must be reviewed before the government will say, okay, let's seek the impact of this on them, our citizens. But unfortunately, you begin to ask, are they really Nigerians leaders? Are they really meant to serve the masses? And then when the masses calls attention of nagging national issues of importance, they are considered to be an enemy or targeted uh, enemy by the state. Well, that is very unfortunate. Is an affirmation by some, of course, who has some fears that Nigeria has been captured. It's just a testament to affirm the fact that Nigeria is a state where anything happens, where everybody behaves anyway without any recourse to the rule of law or the proper channel of doing things, of addressing issues. And that is aggravating the situations, and the tensions is escalating. And people will not be happy, of course, seeing such level of intimidation, suppression by the government or instruments of the state against her own citizens. Others could believe they have no reason to agree or believe anymore in one Nigeria. Of course, Davido said that he's ashamed being identified as a Nigerian. You know what that means? Somebody who is a billionaire who has enjoyed so many privileges by virtue of his status as a celebrity. And of course, he has a teeming population of followers who on daily basis continue to bicker on him for sustenance. You have seen that pressure that, oh, these are not working. These are people who has not been in this way before, but because of the current realities, they have been subjugated, been turned to beggars. And it, as a man with conscience and a young man who believe, of course, in the future of his people, said that I can identify with this. Nothing is working down here. And the government, rather than seeking how to address those issues, silent issues raised, they keep climbing down on the masses rather than providing solutions to all these millions of problems. It's quite unfortunate. But then, if Davido can say he is ashamed of being in Nigeria with the current realities, then what can you say about people who are impoverished, of course, whose uh, the governments have deployed instrumentality of poverty to weaponize them and subjugate them? Of course, they will have more justification to say we don't belong. I am fed up. I'm no more a Nigerian. Well, they have the right. Of course, even the present president, the current president of Nigeria, once has said that he did not believe in one Nigeria. He was not stoned to death, and nobody dragged him to the mud. He was not in prison or charged for treason for saying that. So why should you uh, intimidate and impound on people who have expressed their mere opinion about the happenings and realities in our time today? It's quite unfortunate, but then those who live in glass houses should not throw stone. But then that is what we are seeing today. Let's get to know what is your own reaction regarding this development. Is it an affirmation on your own part that Nigeria could be no more, because with this unrest across the length and breadth regions of this country is a pointer that there could be imminent revolutions, because you can't silence other people all the time. And being that this is a democratic process where people should be allowed to choose freely who should govern them, but unfortunately, such rise seems to be an illusion within the Nigerian cycle. How long will this continue? Only, of course, time and the people decide. Thank you once again for watching. Let's get to know what is your own reaction regarding this development. It has become a worrisome state and a very troubling one as far as Nigeria survival and humanity is concerned. Thank you for watching.